How's that for a fancy introduction? I'm honing my video skills just as this series is coming to an end. But just kidding. Things we're gonna do today. So my brother's coming up, who's building a RANS, I think I told you. He's got a very good eye, mechanically, aviation, all that good stuff. So he's gonna look it over, and he's bringing with him Levi, who's an A&P. Used to work for Sonex, kid, very familiar with kit race planes and all that. So he's gonna look it over, so pretty excited for that. And I have to do a few little things, nothing major. All right, so we have a special guest here. This is Levi, flew up with my brother down from Plymouth. Yeah. And if you, whatever you want to disclose what your credentials are. I know they're quite high, and I'm very excited to have you here. Honored.
Yeah, so I work with Mike Goulian, who's a air show performer and former Red Bull air racer.
Yep.
Started with Michael about...
My audience of 6 knows who he is.
Okay. I started with him about 8 years ago now. Helped out on the Red Bull team, and then the air race side stuff kind of died down. I was his crew chief for the air shows. Now I'm his director of maintenance. So.
They don't do the Red Bull air races anymore, right?
Yeah, they cut it.
Yeah, why? Just no money in it, or too dangerous?
Red Bull just kind of backed out of it. So,
interesting. Wow.
There's a couple people talking about trying to pick it back up, but we'll see.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you very much for coming down. This is awesome and an honor. And you brought the next generation too. And my brother Mark, the other builder. And yeah, so we're gonna go through, and basically I am, as you know, first-time builder with car experience, which, you know, they say about cars and airplanes, they don't correlate, but I want Levi to go through and basically tell me everything I did wrong or where I can improve on. And I do know about this clamp. I'm waiting for the right size.
Yeah, all right. So first of all, it's, I mean, just first looks at it, it's a beautiful kit. So a little background: before I started working for Mike, I worked for a kit manufacturer out of Oshkosh. So I've completed 5 airplanes, scratch built from raw aluminum.
Wow.
Airplanes.
Very impressive.
So I know the labor of love that goes into this. And like,
these were planes for customers?
Some of them, a lot of them were initial prototypes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool stuff.
So
building prototype stuff. I've done some stuff with cars, and I can totally relate with the excitement.
Yeah, so the
but you have no instructions to go by.
Subsonics jet, I was on the, for Sonics, I built the first 3 of them.
Wow.
Prototypes, yeah.
Okay, and that's a very, very cool aircraft.
Yeah.
How cool. Wow.
So I know the last 10% is actually
the last 90%,
but yeah. So
we've been working on the last 10% for the last year and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. So the only thing I'd say is like stuff like this, I would find a place to attach this someplace.
Okay. Fair enough.
A little standoff coming off of here or something.
Yep.
Just because I'm assuming your cowl comes pretty close.
It does, but it clears it.
Might be something, hey, you know, go fly, get a couple hours on it, pull it off, and see if this keeps moving forward.
Yeah.
We gotta do something about it. If it stays fine,
yep,
well enough alone.
Okay. And then the wire. Okay, go ahead. I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, this.
So these spark plug wires came pre-cut.
I want going this way.
Oh, you do.
I don't want it chafing on that fuel line.
Okay.
So
yep.
I'd rather it chafe against another ignition lead than a fuel line.
All right, fair enough. Yep. Yeah, that was probably an aesthetics thing.
That's not bad.
So these, like I said, they were pre-cut, and it was a little bit of a guessing game to try and figure out how to make them fit best.
Yeah.
Same thing, standoff?
I think something there.
Okay.
I think it would look better than, I mean, you could always put a daub of RTV or something on there.
Yeah.
But like,
as you can probably tell, I was trying to stay away from that big blobby look.
Too pretty of an airplane to do that. So
yeah. So a standoff off of here?
I think so. And I mean, you could go to right to one of those clips.
Yeah.
Yeah. You maybe move one of these up, catch this.
Oh, okay.
Let's go. So I always just go, you know, ignition, fuel, and then air, right?
Yep.
So we'll follow our fuel back. All this stuff is tight, right?
Yeah. Well, those were done. I didn't actually check them, but they came like that. The only thing we had to do is I bent this to clear that. The original kit had 2 coils here, 2 coils here. This was the updated version, but it made you have to bend this. I believe I reversed this bracket to go forward. I was very gentle in the bends, and that's how it ended up.
You got 3/8 inch wrench.
Is what?
3/8 wrench.
You want one?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, working with a lot of factories.
Yep.
Most of them are great.
Oh,
every
good
once
call,
in a while, you get
somebody who lunch came early.
Like lunch came early, like, you know.
Actually, I'm really glad you're doing that.
So, fuel system, as far as all the hard lines and stuff, that was all you, right?
No.
Or is
Hard
it-
lines being this. This is them.
Like,
this is them.
Sorry, all the flexible lines.
This
coming
is them. This was actually on here, running through here, dangling underneath here, and then I put it onto there. And then everything on the input side, upstream, is me. And I'll take your advice on this. I thought, you know,
Yeah.
first time it was very close to exhaust, but there you can either run it over the exhaust here or the exhaust here. So you don't have many options. And this came with the airplane like this. And that's how other builders are doing it too.
They're
But
doing
yeah.
The only thing I would say is maybe I mean, you have to see. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with these. If guys have issues with them vapor locking at all,
Haven't heard anything. But
you know, there's a couple little things you could do. If you're having vapor issues, you could build a heat shield here, just to kind of help
okay.
deflect some of that away from that fuel line. But my guess is you're probably going to be fine.
What are your thoughts on, I ran the sensor wires up inside here and put the heat sleeving on there, the fire sleeving on that section.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was trying to, you know, like when car builders hide all the wires, I was
Yeah.
kind of going with that. And I have the little vibration loops on the sensors there, as they call for.
So I know you don't want globby silicone on here, but I'm gonna tell you right now.
Put some.
I would straighten these out, fill these things with silicone
Mm-hmm.
right at the end, because they put the strain relief on here, right?
Yeah.
And all it does is chafe into the wire back here instead of chafing it up here.
Okay, fair enough.
So if you can do it.
Well, how
very
about
nicely.
pre-bending these a little bit into that?
They still.
I mean,
they
I can put the
still do it.
silicone in, yeah.
I would just. You can do it very nicely.
Yep.
Taking a little bit of black silicone and even a toothpick or a.
Yep.
Yeah.
I use a lot of the touch-up paint, the dabbers, you know,
Yep,
little.
yep. Same pressure coming off there.
Yeah.
That is a super fancy. I like the mount.
Yeah, Mark was pointing those out too. Show planes. So a lot of people use the RV manifold that the RV guys use. But because we ended up putting the battery out here in all of our electrical system, we didn't really have space for it. Are you okay with this line? This is for the fuel pressure sender, the way it goes up and the way it goes down to the meter. I was trying to take vibration into consideration and have it vibrate sideways rather than in and out, because I've heard of lines, you know, like could potentially loosen.
Yeah, I think you're fine.
Okay. What about when the heater is closed and all the hot air blowing out here? I mean, it's their kind of the design that they have, but some people are like, "Oh, you should put heat shields over all that."
If anything, I would. 'Cause like, ideally, I would say like, all right, just put a little deflector down, but then it's just gonna cook your fuel flow transducer.
So one of the things that I thought about is making another, because I made this, another one of these that just goes over 3 sides. You know what I mean? And obviously covers
So-
that.
Like our extra and our edge and stuff, we mounted these literally up against.
Oh
like,
boy.
right here.
So,
Right. So like,
but
they're pretty good with heat,
okay.
so I'm not too worried about.
Yeah, they just had those nuts on there. They didn't have
Didn't have
castle nuts now.
castle nuts.
Nope.
That's something I would choke.
And now go like this.
Put some castellated nuts on it.
I'd put castle.
I have them.
See? And now move these.
Just gotta make sure.
It's kind of. I mean,
I don't disagree.
One thing
they're probably
Always
fine there.
the
The
three
metal's
things
temp at
touching,
least,
right?
but
Charlie.
castle nuts don't fail really.
Yeah.
You don't play in the
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, show planes. I found them, and this one actually has that's back on there. For the manifold pressure, it has a little T off that goes, because we have the light speed ignition inside for the vacuum advance. So it just made it really nice and neat.
Yeah.
And gives you a lot of flexibility where you can mount it. Thoughts on my little electronic invention here. This does the 2 shunts, fuses, and all of the fuses for the shunts.
It's beautiful.
You good with polycarbonate on the hood?
We'll find out.
Huh?
It should work.
Yeah, okay. It's just not aviation, didn't buy it at Spruce, you know?
Yeah, if anything, it might yellow a little bit.
Yeah.
But we'll see what it's, I'm not quite sure what, what it's rated for heat wise.
Yeah.
But
so this is a battery designed for interior, because originally it was going to go behind the passenger seat, and then we changed it around, put it out here. So I did get the vents. My plan was just to shoot them down, like put extensions on them.
yeah, EarthX isn't. I'm glad you got to see you have the bleed air on it. The EarthX don't love heat.
Okay, so that's their battery case with some insulation, and their marketing leads you to believe that it's fine to put it on the firewall. This was because it came with the bracket, so I put that intake in and figured it can't hurt.
So they're we ran those. We ran them on the race plane for a little bit until they didn't want any lithium or lithium ion stuff on there.
On the race planes. Interesting. Okay.
They're worried about fires.
Yeah, I know, but 4 pounds versus 24 pounds.
Oh, trust me.
It was 4 pounds. It was 20 pounds in battery weight saved, and never mind all the 4-gauge cable going to the back. To me, that was a no-brainer.
For us, the 20 pounds, man, we were at one point we were swapping out washers and nuts and hardware to make sure we got the smallest. Like, if I could save ounces.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Oh, that's crazy.
But
wow. But I mean, half the stuff in any backup battery, I don't know, lithium's everywhere. Yeah.
I think honestly, a lot of it had to do. We were shipping a lot of the airplanes,
and
I think a lot that had more to do with it than anything.
Okay.
So periodically, just drip some. I like mouse milk in.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, it said that in the instructions, and I actually I didn't know what mouse milk was, and I bought some, and I put it hoping that it would just seep in. I may have cleaned off the extra.
And it's one thing like every time you do an oil change, just keeping all that stuff loose helps. Again, you want all this to move kind of somewhat freely. The engine's moving in one direction. This is
moving in another. Right? And these supports are good.
Yeah. That's perfect.
All right. Kind of one up, down, one left, right.
Stopped by our hangar, and I was talking to him about that baffling.
Okay.
They're actually going to help us design some for the extra.
All right, so it's interesting because first-time builder, the internet is king, obviously, and there's so much information out there, and I came across the ad where they had this Teflon rubbing against the cowl and explaining that most of your vibration comes from the silicone getting stuck to the cowl and the wear and tear. The thing, it kind of made sense to us. So this is twice as expensive. I noticed that obviously only the top half is cut, so when I designed this, I went in and I measured the height and I cut the baffling to be consistent. And then when the cowl goes on, this kind of stays rigid, and then this design, when the cowl sits on for a while, you can see once it's worn in, this will take shape. And it's a pain to work with because you cannot bend it this way at all. With a silicone, you can kind of mimic it, you know what I mean? But again, most people just cut a bunch of flaps and stick it on there. I was trying to kind of keep it neat, and after the third try, this is what I came up with.
No, it looks beautiful.
Thank you.
It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see how it works. Like I said, we're going to try using a similar thing for the extra. The extra, we have such a problem with. Obviously, if using a dive or something, high air pressure coming in here and blowing the baffles backwards.
Oh, okay.
My baffles are probably twice as long as this.
Okay.
Just to have them kind of come up into the cowl to give them more rigidity.
And what about making like the
plenum or something?
Yeah.
It's just we don't plenum on the race plane, and it's great for cooling, and they work great. But that airplane gets serviced, the cowl comes off of it.
So many times, yeah.
2-3 times in a weekend, right?
Yeah.
So, it makes it a little harder to then inspect it and everything else. I think your engine install is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, like this, I'm not as concerned about. I mean, they're in plain view. You're gonna,
Yep.
part of your walk around just seeing that stuff, but the throttle kit will take itself out.
And do people put torque seal on nylocks, or is that?
Yeah.
That's an amateur thing?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It feels good everywhere. It looks like it's missing it here. The aileron kit was just...
Oh yeah. Wow.
Just not hitting that.
Actually, it just not. Yeah.
Like,
it is close though. Yeah, you're right.
Barely. Quite honestly,
How do you fix that? Is that's in there, and then
honestly tweak that rib a little bit.
really? Okay.
You know, grabbing fluting pliers or something, just giving that rib, that flange, just a little tweak.
Uh-huh.
The more
Can I do it with, like, I mean, I don't know if I can get pliers in there, but I could probably just take a socket and kind of bend it up a little bit. Yeah. Okay, I'll figure it out.
The more complicated way would be built, you know, making a little like phenolic standoff right here. You know, attaching it to the back side or the front side of this rib and just having it ride on that phenolic block a little bit.
Yeah, so when I understand that's the way they want it, because when the flaps are all the way up, this was hitting the other side of the bell crank. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you.
It's a Teleflex cable. It's not.
Yeah, it's not. I mean,
because when they have you set them up for, you know, rigging, they have you put them in the position and then actually have you push them up to take up that play of that.
yeah, your wing load's gonna push it up.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got wing tanks that drain into the header tank, no vent. Yeah, there's a low fuel sender on this side, and then the outlet's there. And I can pull the seat out, it goes right up to the fuel pump there. Smoke oil.
That's what I figured.
That all started with this button that was left over on the stick shift. And then it was like, okay, we took 24-pound battery out of here, we can put some weight back in.
So something I like to see is some sort of abrasion protection on fuel lines when using zip ties.
Oh, when using zip ties?
Not the end of the world,
Okay.
but what I usually do is I take, you know, if they're silicone wrapped ones.
I have the grip types. Use those?
Yeah, grip ties, or I even wrap like on Mike's airplane. Anytime anything gets a zip tie, it's a 3M. Oh, I should know the number of this because it's like a prop tape. It's a clear, very flexible but very abrasion resistant tape.
Okay. It was
and I can
called
send
prop tape?
you-
Well, that's what you call it.
That's what we call it. It's a
Yeah.
3M product. I forget what it's called.
Oh, yeah, lights on.
I'll get you the name of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
I love stuff like that.
275. I think it's like. It doesn't have a name. It's one of those like. It's got a goofy number.
$425 a roll. All the good stuff's so expensive.
If
Yeah.
you want, you can get it in like. You can use it. It's like leading edge protection tape and stuff like that.
Okay.
So like you can get it in like 6 or 8 inch wide.
Is it far different from like the paint protection film they use on paint, like cars?
It's
'Cause I got-
close. It's pretty.
I have
thick.
tons of that.
So if you could cut that in 1-inch
Oh, I mean,
strips
yeah.
and wrap that around here, wrap that around your fuel line, and then you're.
Okay.
And I did that like it started with like fuel lines and stuff like that, and then like this will chafe into through your paint after a while.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
All right. You know what? I'll get the tape because if
So-
it's like pre-cut to 3/4 inch width or something, it'll make it so much easier. Yeah, is that acceptable? That was the early on way of doing it.
Yeah. It'll work.
What would you do?
Probably an 8L clamp right here.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing with the 8L clamps is like, yeah, you can put them everywhere, but then you got like 10 pounds of 8L clamps.
Yeah. So I mean, again, it all depends. I don't know how much vibration there's going to be back here, but the safety wire will cut through the
yeah, okay. That makes sense.
So it might be something, you know, see if it works for you, and if it does, great.
If not,
if you start seeing them pull out, you might have to do an
All right.
clamp or something. The other thing they sell, like Clip-On sells them. They're a little square mount that you can run a zip tie through.
oh, the stick-on ones?
Yeah, so they have stick-on
Yeah.
ones, and then Clip-On has ones that actually bond on.
Okay.
You can bond them to. They have an aluminum one, and they've got a composite one.
Okay.
So that might be an option too, especially for something like this. If you're trying to save some weight.
Yeah. Well,
even
not
one
trying
of
to
the-
add any more weight, I guess. Yeah.
even one of the stick-on ones out here.
How bad does this look to you?
I'll tell you that those aren't fun to do. So
Yeah. Is that?
They make these are a little different than a traditional turnbuckle, but they make ones now that the threads, there's basically a line in them, and you just slide these safety pins in,
Uh-huh.
and then they latch into here, so you don't have to safety wire anything. You just slide these pins in. And
Yep.
at least this one.
Because of the
over
cable,
the
right?
Pin. Yep.
Uh-huh. All right. I like that.
Like, man, I think it's extremely unlikely that it ever gets caught up in there, but if it did, it would be pretty,
bad.
Pretty not fun, right?
You can't put it from the other side, right? Nope.
Yeah, you're gonna get from the other side.
So what do they have?
They're called pit pins, so
Uh-huh.
it's got a little button on the back.
Okay.
This is a little T handle.
And they have them for all sizes?
Yeah,
or diameter?
McMaster has them.
Okay, McMaster, yep, in there. How about just taking the ring out and putting something way smaller, like a little notch in there? Oh, then you can't pull it out though, huh?
Yeah.
No, I like the pin. It's called a pit pin.
Pit pin.
So, can I move this further back too? Because this could sit anywhere up here. There's a length on here. I did not cut it yet. I kind of just did an arbitrary 6 inches.
I wouldn't move this back any further.
No? Yeah. Let me just take the seats out.
You know the best part about this is I get to look through yours, and then I get to look through your brother's.
Yeah.
And at the end, I get to compare who's got a better airplane.
All right, so you got a trophy ready for us?
Yeah.
We'll pitch in. You hear that, Mark? We're getting trophies. Hurry up and finish your plane.
Well, I told him I get to inspect his airplane, then I get to inspect yours, and I get to say who's got a nicer airplane.
Will you still be alive then?
100% guarantee you fit and finish.
Well, the thing is like, maybe it'll end up being me finishing his airplane because he won't be. So.
I'll team up with you.
Yeah.
I gotta need to scratch that itch when I'm done here.
Scratch away.
You don't want anybody touching your plane.
No, I don't. I'd like to finish it. I'm waiting for the hanger.
You have a hanger.
Could be a car key in this.
Are you kidding me? Huh. That's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. That came mounted like that. This one I had to change. But there's provisions for a cotter pin?
There's a castle nut on it, so I'm assuming so. There shouldn't be a castle nut on it if there isn't.
Is there a hole?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. All right. This guy is worth all the beer that I'm buying.
Charlie?
Cool. I like it.
Yeah, need the mounts for the batteries. Everything's serviceable. We did a lot of the installation with the boot cowl off, but I tried to keep in mind, you know, that you can get it from underneath here. Like you can take these two Adele clamps off, and
Quite
then
honestly,
that whole thing
these
slides out.
screens pop off so easy.
I know, yeah.
That's how we service.
Yeah.
most of them anyway.
That's like the best part about the big screens. You like that, huh?
This is genius.
Yeah. So this is actually a heavy, relatively heavy Home Depot hinge. I think I bought every aluminum one that McMaster sells or whatever, but they didn't have that locking feature.
Yeah.
And I started looking into those click thing and like ballpoint pen, and it just got complicated. So I'm like, forget it. I just did that. But, yeah.
That's genius.
And then this was left over from the switch card here because we bought 4.
Did you 3D print this?
Nope, just glue and plastic, just like this. This is all just flat plastic at one point. I made this whole console.
Really?
Yep. Yep. The RANS supplies this piece here, and it cuts off, and then there's just an aluminum square upside down U that you drill all your headphone things in. And I didn't like the looks of that, and so these cup holders are off of Amazon, but everything else was just flat plastic that I either bent.
Or...
No, just glue and bend, analog style. I'm old school. You could. People online were like, "Oh, can you send me the print parameters or whatever?" And if I was to make multiples of it, yeah, you would print it or go through the trouble of CADing it and designing it. But this is just one off.
That's some beautiful craftsmanship.
Thank you.
That is.
Even put the little net in here. These are just nets off of Amazon. The same nets as like under here. You know what I mean? Just cut them, and then I put a crimp on there and clipped it in, so you can put your fuel tester in there or extra USB cables. This goes on here, but to take it off, you slide this whole thing.
You got one clamp back here. It needs to be snugged a little bit.
Which one?
This one clamp.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, maybe not. Just a little. Yeah. I'd tighten it up a little bit.
Okay.
Smoke oil is the nastiest substance known to man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to like over tighten it because they're so small.
I would snug that up.
How about that one? Is that one okay? Oh, you just don't want the hose turning?
You don't want the hose turn.
Okay.
I don't know where your banky went.
And I would,
I'd
replace this one.
Why?
So it's already coming out of its
Oh, I tightened it too much?
holder. Yeah.
All right.
I'd get some a little better hose clamps.
Okay. So what color smoke oil do we want?
None. White. White smoke oil.
All right, so colored smoke oil is stains your plane permanently.
Yeah, we played with smoke oil.
And you know this how?
Yeah. Unfortunate experience.
That yellow plane used to be red, or vice versa. All right, well that's some good advice.
Yeah.
And I gotta tighten these. I don't know.
Yeah,
Did I videotape that?
just
Or replace them.
just
Actually,
that-
there's some better ones.
that oil is a paraffin wax, and it'll creep through any of this stuff. Like it's
Okay. What are your thoughts on these style clamps?
no.
The constant tension ones, or whatever they call them.
They're not tight enough. I'd get some good.
Okay. Better
Yeah.
hose clamps. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now we got the real inspector.
Charlie, what's in there?
What we got?
I got him for places I can't reach. You can put him in.
How's those cables? They looking good? Well, there's a couple other builders who reinforce this back here and even put structures in for the bush plane. This is a backcountry plane.
I think it all depends on what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
All right.
These being upside down is okay.
Yeah. It's fine.
All right. The only reason I'm asking because the figures manual has them up, but then the cables rub in here. So I was like, oh, let me put them on the bottom as long as it's okay and visible
Yeah,
during pre-flight.
As long as you're.
No, he wants the edge form probably just here to make it so.
Oh, the steering's not even close. Yeah. That was just a change that I made. All right, say that again. It was off camera.
Looks great. It does.
Did you hear that, Mark?
You did a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you. Ego just went whoop.
You did good.
Excited. When's the first flight gonna be?
Maybe as soon as this week if we get the certificate. If not next week, probably not next weekend.
Flashlight.
What do you?
Is that blue flashlight?
The blue flashlight. So Dad's flashlight is charging over there. Oh, there's a blue flashlight. I do the big one. I think he must have. Is that the one he's talking about? The Makita one? No injuries. This wasn't a complete day with Dad. Again, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Really, really appreciate it. And got a few things to fix. What's that?
So if you run into anything and you got any questions?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Wow, I'm super glad that Levi came down. I think the big takeaways, I'll try to sum it up. tighten these, put a bracket or something. I know other people have done it. I was just kind of like holding off. And that aileron cable on the inside there, I don't know if you can see it, but this comes really close to that rib. So he said just to kind of flute it up a little bit and get it out of the way. It does it on both sides. Cotter pin is missing out of the autopilot servo. Get these things away from the seat rail, or get the hook out of the seat rail so they can't catch. We have more blue tape. So overall, minor stuff, but oh yeah, he said put better hose clamps here. This one's already breaking apart. I only hand tighten that one, I think, and that one's not tight enough. He's concerned about my pretty Alcantara, my Gucci Alcantara interior. And I think that's it. So I'd say that went pretty well. And I'm gonna try and address those things before the inspector comes here. So all right, here's a little closer picture of the aileron cable that he was talking about. So this is at the very first inboard rib from the bell crank. And as you can see, I mean, it doesn't touch, but it's very, very close. So what I was going to do, or it is on the other side, I just put something along this shape, maybe like a crowbar, you know, one of those flat bars or something might work too, but this allows me to go up there and just bend it up a little. I get in there and just bend that up just a little bit. Well, today was a pretty productive day, I would say. We had Levi come up. That was really cool. We went through. I kind of have to go back and look at the video. I haven't done the editing yet, but I know this was one of the things that everybody says make tighter. So my beloved brother brought up these MS42 BS or B5 little clamp things with an MS number. I guess they must be mil spec. So not sure if this is a final solution. I can always make a clamp that goes on there and secure that differently, but this certainly holds it tighter and keeps it away from the cowl. Funny story is, first thing he did, I asked for a 3/8" wrench. I was like, sure. And he went through and checked all of these fuel fittings, to which I said, Levi, I didn't do any of this. This just came with the engine. And he said, yeah, exactly. So anyway, they're all tight, so that's good. He did recommend putting some silicone in here. I actually want to still do that. Forgot about that. Straighten out the rudder. I got to do something about that, kind of minor. And oh yeah, the wings, I think I talked about that already. To clear that aileron cable, which is kind of tight. I just talked to Tony, and he's got a similar situation, so I don't know if it's just a non-problem, but I feel more comfortable fluting that a little bit so it vibrates in there. It's not going to touch it. What were some of the bigger things? I can't even remember. George got the MFD back in, so other than some wire lacing, everything's good, right? Yep. So we are ready for inspection. We're trying to figure out our practice area. I guess there's some, because we live in a very populated area here north of Boston, there's some issues with that, so hopefully we can get that worked out. Oh, I don't know if anybody has these seat pins. I guess they come with little push clips, which would avoid interfering the hook with that, which was a concern. So I'm going to look at McMaster Car. If I find anything, I will let you know. Oh, I need hose clamps on this. Okay, so a couple more things. Oh, I also used those clamps inside here that Mark supplied. Thanks, bro. And tighten it up as much as we can. And now, another late night. Time to go home and wait for the inspector. Anything to add?
Nope.
No? It's been a long journey. Head spinning, touching on so many different things, from the tail cone to the pretty much the spinner up to the engine. So, all right, thanks for watching. Remember, this is just us doing it. And happy building. See ya.